Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Special episode today for you. I am joined with the folks from Stafford Productions, Kelsey Stafford and Julio Neto. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I wanted to have this episode specifically because there's been a whole bunch of talk on various message boards, Twitter threads, you name it, around the highlight videos. It's that college showcase time of the year, so people are getting all this video and wondering, okay, now what do I do with it as they email the college coaches? So since you guys focus on highlight videos in your video production company, I figured you guys would be great to have on. Plus, you're both former Division II soccer players at Lincoln Memorial University in Tennessee, which I'll have to harass. You'll have to help me harass the coaches over there to come on the podcast because I haven't had them on yet. So I'll ping you after. You can help me nudge them to get them on. But let's talk a little bit about your background before we get going. And Kelsey, we can start with you. So, how did you get from little youth soccer player to where playing Division II and where you are now?
Sure. So I grew up in Florida and I played club soccer for Team Boca. And basically, back then, when I was being recruited, there wasn't any big recruiting companies. So my mom and I basically did it ourselves. We She did my own highlight video. She filmed every game herself, and then we basically did our own kind of little college tour. We drove around to schools that we were interested in. We met with the coaching staff and we tried to attend ID camps that we thought of schools that I wanted to attend. And then basically, I toured Lincoln Memorial. I really loved it, honestly, because I kind of toured it in the wintertime and it was the only campus that had green grass. And I wasn't like, oh, wow, winter is really sad. So it really stuck out to me. It was a beautiful campus, and they had a very growing program. So then the coach at the time offered me an offer, and I accepted. And then I went there for school, and I graduated with a degree in communications, digital editing, and film. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, then this is you're starting to put your degree to use, even better, right? What about you, Julio?
So mine was a little different, and that's the good thing about our company because we got both sides. We got the recruiting side of Kelsey being American, my side, which is international. I came from Brazil. I'm from Recife. It's not that big of a city in Brazil, but I played academy in Brazil, first division academy in three teams in my city. So I did U15 in one, U17 another one, U20 in another one. This U20 gave me the opportunity to come play in the United States. So it was great. It was a great um, uh, like championship that we played in Orlando. It opened doors, especially because back then we had no idea what was college soccer. Internet was big, but not as big as we were able to see. Oh my God, college soccer is something big. So I was able to come and perform well. I was able to get some offers from coaches, but back then I had no English. And like I say, back then I didn't also have any games recorded, so I had no highlight video. So I was very lucky though that I was able to play in front of coaches. I was able to get everything paid to come play here and then get seen by coaches. And then that way I was able to exchange numbers with one of these coaches that recruited me to go play in Kansas. So I went to, it's literally the middle of nowhere in Kansas, but then he opened a lot of doors, did 2 years there, really great 2 years. Then I was able to transfer to Lincoln Memorial. Then after that, I had options to play summer league. So I played NPSL, play USL2. That eventually got me a pro contract. We ended up being national champions with Atletico Atlanta here in Atlanta. And I was just playing for Ole FC. We had a really great season. We're 10-0, maybe 11-0. Had also an opportunity to be again national champions, but we fell short in the national, I think, round of 32. But then I got more offers, so it really changed my life to come to the United States, and I'm able to play soccer and run our company. It's a dream come true.
Oh, that's awesome. I was 20 years ago. Tried to recruit a couple Brazilians to my Division II that I was coaching at. That again, same thing. Very very rough English. They did some junior college work, but ended up going back to Brazil. They didn't take the path you chose, which pained me because they were really good players that would have helped us. But it is what it is. But that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit. How did you get into video production? We heard Kelsey with her communications degree. Did you end up taking the same degree route as she did at Lincoln Memorial?
No, so I ended up doing business. She normally tells me that I never studied because back then, like I said, I was looking for a pro contract. So everything that I was doing was related to soccer. But it was great that I took the business classes, that I was able to graduate in business, because then I got the business side of our company. But back then, when I was around like junior to senior, it's when we started dating, and it was very funny because it was the end of the season. I needed a highlight video. Then she was like, "Hey, I study. I know how to edit. I took classes," and I was like, "Oh, that's great. I know soccer really well. You know really well. She knows soccer too. Like that bad, but I know my clips. I know everything. Can you help me make something even better?" So we just sat down in the library. I remember like it was yesterday. And she just was like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use Premiere, we're gonna use After Effects." And I was like, wait.
It was way over his head.
And I was like, "Oh my God, that's crazy." And it's not very hard. Like, she showed in front of me. And I was like, okay, maybe I can offer that to my teammates. I bet they're gonna love it. That's what happened. And then they loved it. And then eventually I started, she already had an Instagram back then.
It was just a hobby.
It was just a hobby.
We
for
never
her,
like
yeah.
planned on it to become this like substantial business that has an influence. We were just doing it for fun, and
And to
I
help
was just
people,
doing it to
yeah.
help people. Like his teammates needed highlight videos because a lot of males in the soccer scene, they want to go pro. So
Yeah.
they know I'm going to need a video every season because I'm going to have to show it to coaches. So we were like, hey, let's just help people, let's just make videos. We weren't charging anything. I was just doing it because people needed it and I knew how to do it. And I was a senior about to graduate. So I was like, hey, I have some extra spare time. Let's help people.
Yeah, so then it was very lucky because I played like a lot of seasons. I wasn't like stopping and not playing. So I was playing spring, I was playing fall, I was playing summer. So she was basically taking care of all of our teammates. We were taking care of all of my teammates. And then when I was about to sign summer it was for the villages. It was 2020, summer 2020. Then everything happened. COVID happened. And then we went to Florida. We stayed in Florida. That's when things started to change. An agent who he played college too, D1, and he was starting his business. He needed someone to do his highlight video. Kelsey got in contact to him, and he really needed someone like right now. I need to go. I was graduating. I didn't have a contract. We were just staying at home. Sorry about that. And we were just staying at home and literally doing nothing. I mean, you were working. No, you weren't working.
No, not at that time.
Yeah. And then we took it. We were like, why not? That's when the company just skyrocketed. It was crazy. And we were doing tons of videos. We started posting on Instagram, and then boom, from there it just went up. So thank God that nowadays we have tons of companies that we work with. We are very well known in the business, and just doing better, just getting better every day.
That's awesome. Well, if towards the Thanksgiving break, I posted a Twitter thread of the top do's and don'ts for highlight videos, because at this point this year I've interviewed almost 125 college coaches for the podcast and kind of asked them, okay, what are your top do's and don'ts? And I summarized it into a Twitter thread that if you haven't seen, go to the discover_CS Twitter account, and it's pinned at the top there for the top do's and don'ts. What are some of your top do's and don'ts that you've seen and heard around highlight videos?
Sure. So I'd say the biggest ones are, the very first do I say is you have to have like a link that's on YouTube. I don't recommend, and neither does Julio, like just having it on an Instagram page or a Twitter account. Like definitely have a real highlight video of like all of your best clips and things on YouTube so that you can email it out to coaches. It's good to also have a Twitter account and an Instagram account, because then coaches can go and do like a little bit of research and investigation, where you can constantly upload new clips from new showcases, but definitely have that real substantial like 2022 highlight video of all your best stuff. And you can constantly update it, but definitely have like a real video. And then getting into the video, you always want to have an introduction photo that has a picture of yourself, so the coach can see your face and make that personal connection of, oh, this is John Doe, like this is who that person is. And then have, you know, your name, age, class, weight, height, position, and then any accolades or additional information that you want to add on there. Putting your club is always good. GPA, if you want to add SAT, ACT scores, any of that fun stuff. But you don't want to make it too cluttered. You always have the description box or the email that you'll be sending it. So just kind of keep the most important information on that intro screen, so they can just get right into the video right away. Because from analytical data, from what we've seen on our channel, a coach is only going to watch about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So if your intro is 60 seconds, you've kind of lost them already.
We normally say that the highlight video is kind of something that's going to put the player in the door of the coach. And then the email going to have the rest of the information that you need. Normally you can attach a CV with more information. You don't have to put in your intro like the tons of conference that you were since, I don't know, 2005, you know. But it's what gonna get you through the door. Those 1minute 30, that's what you got to make that
impression. Yeah, it's more like that handshake of just that kind of first introduction. Yes. So then getting past the intro, you always want to put your best clips up front. Even if like you're a defender, I hear a lot of times, oh, but I don't score goals, like what do I put first? Every position to a coach is important. They need to recruit every position on that field. So if you are a defender, if you're a midfielder, if you're a right back, goalkeeper, forward, whatever, you are important to that coach. So always put your best clips, no matter what they are, up front. If it's like a really good slide tackle, if it's a header, if it's you just being aggressive on the field, they want to see it, because that makes the impact for their team. So always best clips up front. Always identify yourself in every play. Yeah. No matter how far away the footage is. A lot of teams, they use VO, they use trace. Sometimes that camera doesn't zoom. Yeah. So if you have the ability to zoom when making the footage or editing it, please zoom in. It helps the coach a lot. And identify yourself in every play, no matter what. We have heard that goalkeepers don't really need to do that as much, because you're a goalie, the coach knows that you're a goalkeeper. Yeah. So that one's kind of a given. But for every other position, definitely, and make sure it's not like a giant circle or a huge like arrow. Kind of make it specific to you as a player, so that they're not a little confused and they might be looking at the wrong person. And then when it comes to filming, so if your team doesn't have trace or VO, what we recommend is the iPhone. The new iPhones today, they're great. They shoot in 4K, 60 frames per second. Honestly, you don't need anything crazy. Always shoot horizontally with your phone, never vertical, never ever. And if you have a tripod, that would be best to, like, you don't want shaky footage. But yeah, try to film up close, try to film more on, like, if you're an attacker, try to film one half on the attacking side, one half maybe on the defensive side, so you can get both halves. But yeah, the filming today, it doesn't need to be crazy fancy. Just do what you can. I know a lot of things are, with the economy now and prices, it can be really tough. So just kind of do what you can, and just, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's for the do's. Do you have anything to add for do's?
No, that's it. For dons, I would say don't put music with lyrics.
Yeah, music is a gray area. So I did actually read your whole tweet. The gray area of music, we add music to all of our videos just because people like it, like clients like it, but we add non-copyrighted, non-lyrical music. So if you're adding things, make it instrumental, no lyrics, and nothing profanity, no cursing, no bad words, no nothing. Coaches, you will make an impression and a coach will skip your video right away. Yeah, absolutely. Other things like you can make a video every season. Coaches like to see updated highlight videos and clips. So that's another do. You have more don'ts?
No, I think that's it. That part of making a highlight video every season is very important, especially for young kids. That they're right now 2025 class of 2025 class of 2024 is very important because they're starting to be able to get recruited. You probably know those rules. Whoever is going to be a sophomore, if I'm not wrong, it's good to get into the coach's radar right now and then start updating them every season that you're still improving, that you're still playing, and on and on. So that's something that's very important that I wish I could have done. You probably too.
Another one I thought of is club footage is going to be more impactful than high school footage. So if you play for like an ECNL team, MLS Next, or any kind of club. I played for Team Boca. I didn't play ECNL or MLS Next, but my club footage, those coaches know that clubs play at those higher levels, you know, and they go to those showcase tournaments and they know that you are actively playing constantly. So that club footage will hold a little more weight than your high school footage. Yes. But if you are filming high school games, absolutely put it in there. Coaches want to see you play as much as possible. And see you in every game situation. And
a good example that I could do is Luis Lugo. We did a highlight video for a really great player. He just got recruited for FGCU D1, and his highlight video, he had like 50 goals. Insane. But out of these 50 goals, 25 were in high school, maybe 30 were in high school. His agent, he sent to me all these clips, and I done it. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna put it out. I didn't know back then because it's like she said, she played high school, she played clubs, she knows the way I didn't.
Yeah.
So I put it all together. It was great highlight video. I was like, this guy's gonna go to Stanford. And then I send it back to him, and he goes like, okay, delete all of this. They're playing in football stadiums. And I was like, why? And he was like, all of these are high school games. They're so easy. Like you can see. And I was like, oh my God, that is right. And he was like, put all of these clips that are not in football stadiums first, and let's leave the best ones for high school in there, because sometimes it looks too easy, high school.
So that's a question I've gotten before is, do you recommend adding, you know, just like a lower third or something that says who you're playing against, highlighting that competition to show that, hey, I'm doing this against this level, and to help it stand out?
We do offer that. I do recommend that too. Normally we do that a lot to MLS Next players. They are one of them we did for a LA Galaxy player who was playing against San Jose Earthquakes. He was playing against LAFC, and that was like, I think that's a really good idea, and I agree with him. Let's go on and highlight, because he's playing at a really high level. So yeah, I would definitely recommend. Now, if you're not playing against that tough of a club, that's not very important. I mean, it's up to you, but I wouldn't recommend that much. But when it's something it can stand out, definitely, yeah, hands down.
Well, for folks that, you know, who aren't communication majors, who've learned Adobe Premiere and everything under the sun, do you have any just one or two tips or tricks, or is there specific free software that you would suggest folks use? I know everybody, the iPhone people love iMovie, but you know, other stuff that maybe if I don't have an iPhone or I want to do on my laptop, anything like that?
Yeah, so iMovie is available on your Apple computer as well. And we make when I was first learning, we were making highlight videos using like a presentation tool. Like you can just make your cover photo on like a slideshow and just put your information, and then that's a really clean way to do it, where you can just like bullet point information and then add it into your video.
Related to video,
I know though that iMovie is for Apple. What's the one for
if I'm not
PC?
wrong, it's called Filmmaker, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
I used that back when I was in Kansas. I didn't have an Apple computer, I had a Windows computer. But I think it was Filmmaker, if I'm not wrong. But yes, there is one for Windows computer. You probably just have to put on Google, editing, video editing, software for Windows computer.
Well, and I've actually had some success with CapCut. Most people who, if you're familiar with TikToks, CapCut's an app on the phone, but they've now created an app for PC. So then it's just like on the phone. So that might be another good one. Well, I really appreciate your guys' time and insight. So, let's close with just go ahead and let us know what you guys do for players right now. If there's any high school players out there looking for help, what is it that your company does and how they can help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So our main focus is the highlight video, and we also focus on getting athletes exposure. So Julio actually works for a recruiting company who he's on the college placement team. So he actually gets athletes profiles and speaks with the college coaches and then finds the right fit for those athletes. So with his connection through that, he's been able to kind of share our YouTube channel and say like, hey, we just kind of post athletes here. Feel free to just come and look for your recruiting purposes. So we actually get college coaches reaching out to us almost every day in search of new recruits. So the paid service is just the flat fee that we have for the highlight video. And then the additional free offer is just tons and tons of exposure. We got one kid 30,000 views on his highlight video. And the average that we show on our Instagram page every day is about 5,000 to 7,000 views per video. And it's just incredible because I love our business so much because when I was a recruit, like I would have killed for that kind of exposure, and we didn't have those kinds of resources back then. Like I think there was NCSA, but that was like really the only one. And I couldn't afford it. So we wanted to make our business as affordable and as helpful for recruits as possible, because for him as an international and me, I mean, just an American, we've been through that recruiting process. We know how hard it can be, and we know how athletes can struggle with so much on their plate. They have school, they have grades, they have practice, they have making their highlight video, they have going through that recruiting process, touring schools, talking to coaches. It can be so much. So we really wanted to make something just to alleviate some of that pressure and just kind of help those athletes out and put them in the best light and really help their chances to just get recruited.
Awesome. Well, appreciate all you're doing and really appreciate the time. And hopefully this helps some folks as they put together their highlight videos. And if they need some help, I'm sure they'll reach out to you guys. So thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it and all your time.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.